Going live in three, two, one. All right. We have all this background noise because I live a real life. I'm already live because I live a real life, and we just gonna have noise in the background. Uh, I ain't gonna never get out the hood. Go get out the hood. It be your own people. Be your own people. Don't worry. Ain't nobody on this stuff. No way. What are we about today? Daily life. Yeah. Learn, art, food, fandom. Let's see, DIY, daily life. New year, new you. Huh? Is that right? New year, new you. All right, everything to do with new you. All right. Let's go live. And we are live. There we go. All right. I'm getting all my life together. Yeah. Getting my life together. There we go. All right. So let's see. Last but not least. 3, 2, 1. Yeah. Let's get that together. All right. So let's see here. All right. So long story short, short story long. New year, new you. What you gonna do about it? A lot of us are gonna go into the new year doing things that we did last year, and it's gonna get you nowhere. One of the things that I like to start my year off with, or my Gregorian calendar year, because for those of us who are in tune, we know that this is not the quote unquote new year. This is just a new calendar year because at some point somebody decided, hey, we're going to change up the calendar, and people just kept going with it and running with it. And that's literally how we got here. So do your research, Gregorian calendar. Anyway, um, so we come into this new calendar year, and a lot of us like to set out what's called new year, new me, new goals, new year's quote unquote resolution. And your new year's resolution should be every day. You should have some version of creating a new version of you, a better version of you, and making the best version of you every single day of the year. But here we are, new calendar year. Everybody does this. So I guess I'll just speak to it since there are more people that do it than not. One of the ways that I like to start off my new calendar year is with a fast. So currently, right now, I have committed to 10 days of fasting, no food, pure hydration, straight hydration fast, 10 days. All right. So for those of us who are starting off our new year, new me, one of the things that I think that you should definitely take into consideration is knowing that you're going to have to let some things go. It's going to be some things, some persons, some places you don't want to go, and some things you going to have to drop. All right. So that's one of the most major requirements in the event that you want to do some version of training. In the event that you want to continue to do the same thing, you will not get a new you. This is evidenced in how we look at animals. If you study animals, you'll see that there's some transition period that animals go through. And whether most people realize it or not, when the creator started creating, the animals were here first. The animals were created first. And what the animals were here doing, it allowed a lot of the systems that are in place to be set up, to be established. And if you just study them, you'll see how energy is expressed, how these systems come into play. So, one that I see a lot of people use is the butterfly. You see that. I see it on a lot of women who tattoo the butterfly on them in some space on their body. Sometimes it's a surprise as a guy when you find it. Other times it's out in the open. I don't see men do this. for some odd reason. But the butterfly is, this, I guess, symbol of change, symbol of a obvious symbol of change and how it morphs. So, you being a larvae, eventually you're a caterpillar with all these legs, and you waving along. You're more so in tune with the ground, the trees, the leaves, and all the other good stuff, and some um, innate energy about it. Something within the caterpillar knows that, hey, I have to start establishing a home. Hey, I have to start establishing this change. So it starts doing things to put itself in the position to prepare itself for change. So a lot of times, a lot of us just go into the quote unquote new year and you have not prepared yourself for that change. I think that's something real important. And I just kind of caught that now as I'm saying it out loud. So the caterpillar prepares itself and puts itself in a position to where it knows it's going to go through change. And then, it's there. It's through change. It prepared itself. And now this whole change comes about. Boom. Out pops out the butterfly. It has wings. It's ascending. It's doing different things. It's going to put itself um, it has different attributes now that it didn't previously have. So if you are now tuning in, I'm going live on like three different channels. If you are now tuning in, what I'm speaking to is the normal pattern that most people fall into with the new calendar year, where there's new year, new me. And one of the things that I, like to entertain and speak to is how that process works. And if you are preparing yourself for that process, a lot of what I'm speaking to, a lot of the energy and the things that I'm on, it is through a lot of you guys' platforms. Some of you guys have an algorithm that's so negative that likely you would never run into a me unless someone's trying to drag my name or bring me down or do something that's negative. Then at that point, it's going to get out to all platforms at that point, and it would just shed me in a negative light. But if I come in here and I speak to positivity, I speak to good energy, good things, and I speak to promoting people to be a better version of themselves here, new year, new you. Well, the algorithm will likely throttle that. It's not going to push it. It's going to do things that are actually going to keep me tucked away. And most people are going to scroll right past. But in knowing that this is something that I'm a part of and I have dedicated myself to being team creator, I've dedicated myself to putting myself in a position to where, in the event the creator needs a vessel to promote positive energy, guess what? I'm your man. I'm here to sign myself up with a resume that says, hey, I want to be able to show you that I'm able to put in the work. I'm able to show you that I'm able to be obedient. And in the event that you need me, creator, I can go out here and do what you need me to do to start getting other people on the right page. Because our days, our lives, our music, our movies, just so much of our energy and the things that we deal with, it's surrounded by negativity. So anyway, with it being surrounded by negativity, I say, hey, I want to go be the positive in someone's life. I could be the laugh in someone's life. I could be the guidance in someone's life. I can be the testimony in someone's life. So, hey, I'm here to put that out there. So, new year, new you. How do we go into that? And I'll keep this short. This is not going to be a long stream or something that's long and dragged out. But first, put yourself in the position to sit down in solitude and say, hey, I recognize that there's something in me that I need to change. All right. And with you saying, hey, I want to change it, point out the things that need to be changed. A lot of times we go through life in this version of denial. Some of us strive so much for perfection that perfection doesn't make sense. It's great to want to acquire and do the best you can. It's great to want to try to get, I guess, maybe close to perfection. But when something is perfect, that means it's done. That means it no longer needs to be fixed. It no longer needs to grow. It is finished where it's at. What up, Kay? So anyway, with that being said, prepare yourself and put yourself in a position to say that, hey, some version of change needs to happen here. All right. So that's a part of New Year, New You. Happy Gregorian calendar year. What's up? Um, So, with that being said, there's a preparation that needs to go on. Like the example I said earlier with the caterpillar. You do not see a caterpillar that just popped up and boom, caterpillar had wings. That's not how it went. It was something within the energy. So something within you was saying, hey, I need to change this. I need to stop doing these particular habits. I need to start doing these particular habits. I need to change some things. Something about my life is not going the way that I think that thing is going to go. Some things about my life I'm trying to control, they can't be controlled. Certain things that I need to control, I'm not controlling. So there's going to be something within your energy that's going to put you in a position to say, I need to do something better. And so that's just the first step. So that calling, that intuitive energy, there's something in your guidance. There could be something spiritually going on that's showing you these several versions of signs that's saying, hey, this ain't right, or this person ain't right, or when you go to this place, that ain't right. It's going to be something there that's going to put you on game. And it's for your eyes now to see, hey, I don't need to be around that. I don't need to be doing this. When I do this, I get this result. So surrounding yourself, positive energy, positive people, positive things, good vibrational energy within you, you should be able to walk away from something that you do and say, you know what? This was for me. I like this. I love this. I'm on a tour right now. I'm on a Begging for Sax tour with my brother Chris Mitchell, Jazz. And one of the things that I'm making it a point to do is let the crowd know when I open up the show, hey, I just want to let y'all know I am in utmost appreciation of being here. I am in the utmost of honor in being this stage in front of you because there are so many things that a lot of us aspire to do and we try to put together and we try to organize or we try to plan or we invest in business wise or we go out and share with our friends and we don't get the support. So to be in front of a group of people that all agree to come together and support something, it's honorable. I no longer take those things for granted. I do not look at those things and say, oh, this place holds 1,000 people and we only have 900 or we only got 500. That's unsuccessful. I don't look at it that way. If I can get people to understand that there's something that I want to do and I want to bring people together in a positive way and they all show up for that positive thing, man, listen, that is success to me. And that's another thing in being the new version of you. What are you going to do to put yourself in a position to say, how do I define success? Because if you're only defining it off of the hoopla that goes on with quote unquote keeping up with the Joneses, if you're only defining who you are based on how other people quote unquote perceive you, if you define yourself by the, I guess, the physical things that you go in and attain, if that's the only way that you're defining who you are or what your success is, man, that I don't know what to tell you. That's going to be a shallow place for you. It's going to be a very, very shallow place for you. So, with that being said, new year, new you. So, it's the energy within you that's going to recognize, hey, I need to change something. Then there's going to be now the action that comes behind it. So, if we look at the caterpillar is not content on being in the place that it is. It knows, hey, I'm where I'm at now, but it also innately knows that there is something in me that's going to need to change. And within that change, that caterpillar goes and takes the actions. So, what does the caterpillar do? It starts collecting the material that it needs. It's something within it that says, I got to go and invest in that change. So, it starts going with the actions of the change. Here's an example. I want to change a lot of the platforms and the narrative around a lot of the things that I currently do. Um, I want to change and be a better part of the world. I know I have to plant that seed. So whether it be one person tuning in or 1,000 person, I know now I have to continue to do this thing until enough people realize that this thing exists, and then people eventually showed up. So you hear, if you build it, they will come. I will match that with Rome wasn't built, quote unquote, in a day. So now, with those two things that you hear, I know that if it wasn't built in a day, somebody had to show up. Somebody had to have the idea. Somebody had to put the plans in place. Somebody had to have the people to commit. And then someone had to see it through every single day, showing up, rain, sleet, snow, happy, sad, good things, other people recognizing, or even that person that showed up, let's just say to pave road or to do some version of entrenchment or to lay some version of foundation. And it didn't matter if other people showed up. You could have showed up blistered hands, sweaty, tired. Wife is tripping at home. Kid is tripping. It's got pulled over by the cops. Roman soldier wanted to beat you up because you was traveling on a horse and buggy without a license. Just all these things that go on in life. They said, oh, you needed to pay a tax and all these other things on a tollway. So many other things that go on, but somebody showed up every day to make Rome happen. So I envision that now, and I see throughout my journey that even in taking on something like this, it's not starting over. Starting over is I don't have the knowledge that I have, I don't have the wisdom that I have, and I don't have the vision that I have. That's quote unquote starting over, or and some people will say quote unquote starting from scratch. Hey, I got the tools that I need. It's just washing hands, showing up with new clothes, and clocking in and knowing that each day that I go to build this, that it is a new brick that can add to what I need to be building. That's just literally now the space that I'm in. Um, Aw, thanks. Your energy will definitely magnetize the right people to you. May take a while, but it will. Yeah. And so I realized that. Now, I've never been a fan of quote unquote social media. I see the negative that it brings about. I see, I come from a generation where we went outside, we shook hands, we rode bikes, we talked with one another, we engaged with one another, we did it in real time. So to sit in front of devices and to put myself in the position of where I just talk to nobody or one person or whatever the case may be, man, this could have been an email. This could have been a phone call. So that's how I eventually see how these things come about. But as I see so many other people that are successful in their journey, I'm like, where did this start? And it started with them just being crazy enough to show up to something and for people to start paying attention and tuning in. So they might not start at the beginning of your journey, but hey, they're there. So with that being said, um here's an example of something that transpired recently. One of my vehicles allowed my daughter to use, and something happened within that vehicle, and she said, hey, vehicle's running hot. She said, I can't steer. And she said, the guy who was assisting her, he told her to cut the vehicle off. So it was leaking like radiator fluid or something like that. So I said, okay, well, that's weird because I've never had any of those symptoms or any of those issues with the vehicle. So I go to find her. I use her location. Boom. I hit the directions. I go and find her. So I see her sitting there. She's at the gas station and she's pulled over. So I start the vehicle up. I go to steer the vehicle. I noticed she was right. You cannot steer the vehicle like it felt like a old vehicle from like the 60s. If you know anything about power steering, some of those vehicles, you had to put your body into those things. So large vehicle, I steer it, I get it parked to where I can assess the vehicle now. So now I'm in kind of a foreign territory here. Why? Because normally, what do? You call a mechanic or you tow the vehicle. So I want to assess and get an idea of what's going on here. How can I describe this to a person and get an idea of what my issue is? And that's another thing too. With us that's stepping into a new year, new you, you have to know what's going on with you. You have to be able to assess something's not right. Let's just say, and this is just a sidebar real quick. Let's say you're not feeling right. You have to be able to step up and articulate, hey, I'm not feeling right. Hey, I feel depressed. Hey, I feel sleepy all the time. Hey, my energy is not in a particular place. You have to be willing to open up and speak on that. So as I go here, I'm looking at the vehicle. I have to be willing to understand what's going on with the vehicle so that I can articulate this to a person who can fix it, to a person that can help, to a person that can probably provide me with the information. I have to be willing to get in there and get my hands dirty real quick and figure out, hey, what's going on here? So I get in there, I start taking a few things off. I get some of the now here goes the next one. Boom, it's hitting me. So now the next thing is I have to be willing to understand, one, I need some help or I need to diagnose the issue that's going on. And two, you have to be willing to understand if you have the tools to do so. So I had some of the things that could get me some vision or to give me some insights, but I don't have quote unquote all the tools for this repair. So it's going to take me now to step up and to go get the tools. Sometimes that takes tutorials. Sometimes that takes having conversations with certain people who are professional in that realm or professional in that space. Sometimes this takes you sitting in silence. Sometimes this takes you to do reflection. It's going to take you to sit back and say, you know what? I need some help here. So, what I did end up doing, yeah, we must humble ourselves to accept help and utilize the resources. You're right. Totally agreed. So, that was a thing. All right. I know I have certain skill sets. I know as a DJ, my hands are part of my gift. I know there's a certain observation and vision that I have. So, all right, let me assess what I do have and let me be able to put myself in a position. The next thing is you got to be willing to take advice and be able to use discernment now. So the advice and discernment for me is YouTube, right? So now I go in, I open up and take certain parts off to be able to visualize and see what's going on. Oh, the serpentine belt. Now I'm understanding definitions. Somebody labeled it this. So now, in order for me to communicate this with anyone, I got to know the definitions now. That's me getting down to the bottom of it. If I'm operating in my DJ capacity and I say, hey, I have some issues with my crossfader where I'm hearing sound from both sides when I move my crossfader all the way over. I have to understand how to communicate that, oh, this terminology is called bleeding. The crossfader is bleeding over. So I need to figure out how to feed the bleeding of sound, right? If I'm in the medical field and I know that there's a certain procedure that's going on, I have to know the terminologies and educate myself within that terminology. I have to understand if this is an inpatient or outpatient procedure. I have to know, am I going to a specialist or this is going to be something in general medicine that's going to go on? I have to know certain things that I have to educate myself with to figure out how to navigate through this because this is going to be something that I'm in unfamiliar territory about. There's a strength in asking for help. It's not a weakness. Man, you ain't never lied. So with that, I then saw myself when I went and got my tools. I came back and I saw the serpentine belt came off, and then I realized, okay, that serpentine belt, now there's a graph there. Now there are some tools or some things or some signs along the way. And one of the signs that I see is that on the vehicle, it actually shows you where the serpentine belt runs and what it connects with. So it's going to touch a idler pulley, it's going to touch a tensioner pulley. Look at me learning these things now. I have to identify what they are. So in our lives, we're going to have to do the same exact thing. We're going to have to put ourselves in the position to be able to identify these things that we are experiencing. And these are going to be new definitions, new things that we have to equip ourselves with that are going to allow us to understand how to use particular tools to fix those particular things and those definitions of the things that we're experiencing. So I see idler pulley, I see tensioner pulley, I see generator or alternator, I see AC compressor, I see let me see. There's a pulley with that. There's your main pulley that's going on. It's gonna turn the engine. So I see all these different things now that I'm having to figure out how that works. I got to learn how the serpentine belt within itself moves just through information. Other times you're going to be able to think back to things that you picked up along your way. I learned that there the tensioner pulley that in something that I saw that you put your tool on there and when you move it a particular way, it's going to lessen the tension on the belt and it's going to allow the belt to be moved or manipulated in a particular way. So I figured out how to grab my tool. I figured out what size to use with the bolt that I needed to use with the ratchet tool. And I put it on there. Boom, I move it. It allows me now to maneuver and try to get the belt on there. But now I got to figure out, how does the belt run? So all these things are going on. But I say all this to say, this is something that hit me in the middle of going through this. And this is how I knew that I had accepted a lot of what I'm on my road to become. And I knew that all the things that I've been through is starting to fruition. While I'm switching out tools, I literally had the thought in my mind that said, I'm excited. I'm about to learn something new. And that within itself was something that I had never consciously thought of before. I had never entered something that was going to be a complete utmost challenge to me. A lot of times I'm the oldest child, so I'm used to just diving in head first and, boom, I'm there. Is, knots on the head, scrapes on the knuckles, you know, all these things that come with just diving in head first. I had never recognized the conscious thought that said, I'm excited to learn something new and do something new that I've never done before. And I knew I was not completely over my head, but I knew this is something that I have just no quote unquote experience in. Now, to speed all these things up, and to shorten this quote unquote long story, or this example that I'm setting us on a path on, one thing that I realized is that I should have been operating on that dang engine. I was so mad. So I got the vehicle, I got the serpentine belt on. I recognized that the clutch fan was loose, which was a symptom. Now I have to diagnose. I found I had to use certain definitions, I had to have certain tools, and all these things that I'm putting together in real time allowed me to diagnose the issue. The water pump is going out. The water pump has a fan. That fan is not supposed to move like this. And when the pulley of that fan, that is the radiator clutch fan that's cooling off the engine and activates at a certain time, well, it has a pulley on it. And that belt goes across that pulley. And if that pulley is going back and forth and that belt goes across it, well, what's going to happen? It's going to throw the serpentine, or the belt that runs across it, that generates and turns it. It's going to knock it off. So in real time, I'm having to pick all these things up and figure it out and be able to diagnose. The next thing I have to figure out is if that pulley to that fan, that radiator fan that moves, can it be tightened, or is it just at complete failure and I need a new one? Boom. I need a new water pump. So with that being said, new water pump, I got to figure out how to do that. I got to figure out now with a water pump and something related to, I know, cooling and radiator and all of that. I know that there's some called a thermostat. Well, it turns out water pump has the thermostat attached to it. I know it's going to take fluid. It's a lot of things now, a lot of moving parts that in real time, I got to process, I got to find the tools for, and I got to figure it out. And in some instances, and I'll close with this, learning the definitions, understanding there's some version of change that needs to go on, right? Knowing that you don't want to be stuck in the place that you are, knowing that you want to change and you want to morph and you want to become a better person, right? You want to become a the energy that's within you that's driving you to be different, like that butterfly that's has all them legs, that's wiggling and crawling and all the other good stuff. It has the program aspiration that says, I'm gonna fly. So in the process of it making that cocoon, it knows that, hey, it's certain things I'm going to need, and it has to recognize the tools that are at hand that it needs, and you have to know how to make the best of what you got. So let's just say this butterfly ends up in the area where, the leaves that it prefers or it know it needs for energy or for use to make the cocoon or whatever it's using for those tools. Let's say it might need some other type of materials. Let's say something happened to the environment that it doesn't put that immediate preference right at its disposal. It doesn't allow for whatever that immediate tool is that, hey, we don't really have that readily available. So you're going to have to do some adapting and adjusting, and being willing to adapt and know that you need to adapt and adjust. That's definitely something that can be a great characteristic that you should possess when you're trying to do your new year, new you. So what I realized is that certain tools that I might have preferred to have, I didn't have on hand. So I had to make the best of what I had. Now, even on the back end of it, like after I ended up pulling off the whole repair, I ended up cleaning up some things. I ended up seeing how certain things that I did resulted in this way. I could fix something, but then it caused the issue with something else, and I had to address that and learn how to approach that. That can happen. You can literally learn, hey, I need to cut some people off, but you cutting people off doesn't mean that it's gonna be peachy keen with another friend of yours who also knows that friend, and now that friend of yours, friend A, wants to hang out with friend B that you cut off, and now it's gonna make it awkward when it's time for friend A that wants that's your quote unquote BFF or something like that, and you don't want to hang out with friend B and they're cool with both of y'all. So just because you fix one thing doesn't mean that it's not going to be something else that needs to be addressed or needs to be fixed. So with that being said, in closing, I just say this. If you're going for quote unquote new year, new you, new calendar year, new you, or at any point in time, you say, hey, my power is in the now, and I'm going to take this chance to change and be a better version of me, and I want to be a better example for my family, for myself, for people around me, for my community, for my job. At any point in time, you take control of that. Put yourself in a position to be able to recognize that that energy within you knows that you need to make that change. Know and figure out how to recognize the signs that are there that want you to make that change. Then from there, start doing the work. The caterpillar doesn't just continue to crawl around on all those legs and wiggle through. The caterpillar starts doing the work. It starts making the cocoon. It starts doing what it needs to do to put itself in a position. And if you notice, the cocoon is really a boundary. The cocoon, for those who speak the economic language, and for those of us who operate in business, it really makes a special purpose vehicle, a special purpose entity. That's really what it does. It puts itself in a position to be able to travel to where it needs to go. So it knows, hey, if you, like, I'm from Texas, I'm going from one side of East Texas to the west side of Texas. Am I gonna do this on foot? The caterpillar said, no, I'm not doing it on foot, because eventually I'm getting to wings. But right now, I know I need to do something that's going to put me in a position to get from there to there. Well, it created a special purpose vehicle. So that special purpose vehicle gave it wheels. It gave it something that sped up the process. So, anyway, with speeding up that process, you too can do that, right? You don't have to drag it out. You can do things that put you in a position to be the better version of you, and it could put you in a position to be the new you and to take on the new challenges that come with being the new you. So for those who happen to check this out, yeah, give me a shout out. I mean, me personally, I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing anyway. So it's not to say that I don't care about quote unquote people's opinion, but you can drop me a line and give me some of your experience. What have you experienced in life? It could trigger a thought within me that we can speak to others. So your testimony, or how you ended up relating, can end up putting me in a position to articulate to someone else that might need that extra push, that might need that extra word, or we can be a sign for them to put them in the energy of being a better version of who they are. So I go by the name of Energizer. And this has been another I Am Energizer podcast. Check me out. I'm on YouTube. I Am Energizer podcast. That's IAMENERGIZER. Holla at me. Podcast. Um, yeah, that's it. Day 2 of the new you. So this is day 2 of my fast. So make sure you for those who fasting, make sure you tune on in to your fasting buddy, and make sure we doing good over here. I'm gonna make it regardless, but check in. I definitely encourage a lot of you all who are fasting. I encourage you to do that as well. So yeah, y'all have a good one, and peace out. I get up out of here.